Esteury Ruiz got the call, and Chris Sale made his season debut. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5. As always, make sure to follow and stream us on Spotify. Today is Wednesday, July 13th. I am Frank Sample, joined by Scott White, and let's talk about Esteury Ruiz, who got the call from the Padres. He is one of their top prospects, just having a monster season in the minors, .333 batting average, 13 home runs, and yes, 60 steals across 77 games. He's 35% rostered. Scott, do you think Ruiz is a must-add in fantasy baseball?
I don't know that must-add across the board, but I would say any league where steals are valued, which basically includes all rotisserie leagues, any 5x5 head-to-head league. You probably need to add him just for that steals potential. I mean, you project that over 150 games, it's about 120 steals. Now, he's not going to run at that pace in the majors. Nobody's really done that since the 80s, and that's unlikely to change. Plus, there are some rule differences between the majors and minors that make stealing bases easier down there. And that's obvious. He's obviously not going to steal bases at that pace, but he did get 2 hits in his first game. He did attempt to steal, looked safe at first, and ended up being called out on review. But, it was nice to see him put that skill to work right away. As for the hitting numbers in the minors, which are excellent in their own right, I mean, between the two levels, a 1028 OPS, you mentioned the .333 batting average, and enough power, like if that translates, I have questions about whether it'll translate. The exit velocity readings, what little we have from down there, aren't particularly impressive. Both of his singles in this game were about 70 miles per hour, for whatever that's worth. I mean, obviously a small sample. But he did hit 9 of those 13 home runs at AA San Antonio, which isn't a great place to hit. And he was thought early on in his minor league career as like a teenager to be this upsidey, toolsy type who, if he ever put it together, could become something special. And with improved plate discipline this year, it seems like he may have put it all together. So I would describe myself with Esteury Ruiz as not cautiously optimistic, but excitedly pessimistic, I would say. And that, I'll take a shot, see how it goes, but I'm not expecting him to save my season necessarily.
All right, let's move over to Chris Sale, who made his season debut, his first start in nearly 9 months. He was at the Rays. He went 5 shutout with 5 strikeouts. He only had 4 swinging strikes, but a 37% CSW overall. His velocity was up across the board. Scott, what'd you think of this start, and where are you ranking him rest of season among starting pitchers?
So he's in that top 30 to 35 range, right around guys like Luis Castillo and Lance Lynn, Shane Baz, kind of in that range for now. I mean, I do think Chris Sale has the most upside of any of those players. And we've seen him be, he had about a decade as a top 10 pitcher consistently in fantasy. And it was nice to see the velocity up a mile per hour and a half from last year. So, I would have liked to see more swinging strikes, but seeing him throw strikes and seeing him throw that hard, I think is very encouraging and, more likely to move him up than down after this start for sure.
All right, let's stick with the pitching and talk about David Peterson, who had a strong start at the Braves. He went 5 1/3, 2 hits, 2 runs, 9 strikeouts in this one. He had 14 swinging strikes. 10 of those came on his slider, and he really leaned into that slider in this start. He threw it a season-high 44% of the time. And Scott, this has been a tremendous pitch for him. 154 batting average against, 25% swinging strike rate. I think there's a lot to like here with David Peterson. He's 69% rostered, could be available in some shallower leagues, but I worry about whether he'll stick in the rotation once deGrom returns too. So how are you handling this David Peterson situation?
Well, I don't think it hurts to pick him up and see what happens. Life finds a way, as they say. And he would be the obvious man out if the Mets decided to go 5-man right away. They might not. Somebody else might get hurt. The bottom line is it's been a while since a pitcher this available has really inspired anything in me. And yeah, that slider seems like genuinely an elite pitch. Leaning on it more seems like a good approach for him. The strikeouts, the swinging strikes have both uh, skyrocketed his last 5 starts, and he's a great ground ball pitcher on top of it. So I don't know if just spamming hitters with that slider is if it can be an effective approach long term. But you definitely see a path to success here for David Peterson, and I think it makes him worth a pickup if you didn't already pick him up for the 2-start week.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, your smart speakers, or anywhere else podcasts are found. And thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. We'll be back again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.